Welcome back to the Artefactors Union. I am your host and foreman and man with allergies, Douglas Scoundrels. Today we are assembling the Gautraeux Bokors. This is the second edition box. The third edition box, thankfully, is just called Gautraeux Bokors because it's only them in the box. Yay. Artwork hasn't changed either, models haven't changed, so this is just fine. We've got some gremlins riding ghosts, holding candles. Pretty cool. Renders on the back. 3 models, and there are going to be a lot of pieces. So let's get to it. We got 3 separate sprues for 3 separate models with about a dozen bits each. Hooray. I believe they are, yep, they're lettered. So we're looking at this guy first. Number A. Letter A. Number 1. Whatever. So this is marked as A, and the instructions is Bokor number 3. So make sure not to get confused on that. But these two are actually separate, the ghost and the gremlin. So it'll be slightly easier for us. Let's start with the gremlin, grab the body, add the chest bones thing. Then we'll do both the legs, both the arms, and then the hair. Right. After that, we'll do the ghost. Ghosts? Multiple ghosts. Oh, geez. Okay. So one of them is just the ghosty bits and a head. I don't know which head it is yet. We'll figure that out. The other one is ghosty bits, a head, and multiple arms. So I think I got the gremlin arms wrong. Right. Here's the gremlin arms. Not these two. These two are ghost arms. All right. So let's review. Body, chest, leg, arm, hair. Then simple ghost with just 2 bits and a head, and complex ghost with body, arm, and head. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, we've got our body first, and our first step is going to be not easy just because the chest piece doesn't really have an indication of its orientation. It could go in upside down accidentally, and you wouldn't really know all that well because dry fitting isn't that obvious either, but the way I figured out, or at least the way it sets in better for me, is, as we can show it to you. Okay, here we go. You can see on the bottom, the part that actually goes inside the model is slightly sloped, whereas on top it's flatter. And also, it's technically thicker on the bottom as well. So this is the orientation that I'm looking at. Just putting in like that. And there we go. That looks good. Okay. So now we can do the legs, which aren't going to have the same kind of problem. Right leg went in fine. If you need help distinguishing between right and left, just look at the bottom of the feet. But now let's go ahead and do our left leg. Left leg is in. Now just stare at the gremlin's butt to make sure that the seams look good. Okay, now let's do the arms. The left arm first, which is the shorter one and is not holding the candle. Oops. I think they can probably go in either way. However, the render has the fingers pointing down, so that's the orientation we want. Now let's do the right arm with the big candle. Okay, this was kind of hard, not for getting it in there, but it really just lets you twist it however you want. So orientation is a bit of an issue. To fix that, once you've got it in there and it's not going to fall out, just go ahead and, sit him down on the ground, because he's got a really weird lean, so you're not going to actually be able to eyeball the orientation at all. And then I put pressure on this front right foot, like I'm doing here. It's kind of hard to see. And then you can look at the candle and make sure it's nice and perpendicular to the ground. All right, so let's do the hair last and be done with our gremlin boy. Okay, tore this off to show you. This right here used to be sort of like a kind of a plug of plastic that stuck out from the square that you see. I had to trim that down because it was causing a gap. You might have something similar. So if it looks like there's a gap there that shouldn't be, pull the thing off, check and make sure there's nothing that's like sticking out that feels like it shouldn't be there, and do a bit of trimming. Again, you can see where the bit connects to the other bit and where it actually doesn't because there's a slight gap, and then you can use that to shave it down to close that gap. There we have one completed gremlin. At this point, double check and make sure your arms haven't been like knocked out of place. The connection points on them are just so small, so they'll wiggle. Like, I can probably wiggle this guy still a little bit. Yep, see? Just make sure they're back in there in the right spot, and then just let him cure without touching him. Let's move on to the ghosts. I have the heads figured out. Hooray. So we're going to be grabbing our body. We're doing the smaller ghost first, the one that's just a body and a head. Grab the body of it. And then we're going to be using this head right here. If you look at the render, at least, yeah, and if you look at the render for both, one of the heads has like an actual concave mouth, this one right here, and this one pretty much just doesn't have that sort of dent, hole, whatever. So the one that doesn't is the head for the smaller ghost. So we're doing body and then head. And then while we're here, after that's done, we'll grab the body of the bigger one, do the left arm, the right arm, and then head. All right? Okay, here's our smaller ghost body. Head's just going to go right on top of there. We've got the body. Now let's add the left arm, because we're looking at it. There it is. Once you know the orientation of it, it slides in relatively nicely. Now let's do the right arm now. Another pretty easy connection. Alright, now let's do the head. Let's make sure you press down it pretty hard, and we're all good. Alright, let's jam them all on a base now. Bokor, Gautraeux Bokor, number 1 is done. I'm going to call this one Datura. Yeah, it's supposed to fit on a 30mm base. As long as you put the gremlin as far off to the side as you can, then you can fit the other 2 ghosts on there relatively easily. So not the biggest of headaches, but again, a bit of a surprise that it's on a 30mm. Hardest part for this one was not knocking the arms out of place, really, because, again, small connection points, it's a gremlin. Kept accidentally nudging the arms, and then they slipped out of the connection point ever so slightly. So just keep that in mind, keep an eye on it. It'll be okay. Let's move on. Our second Bokor is B, also our Bokor 2 in the online instructions. Also technically 2 models that both fit on the same base. This time we are going to grab the torso and then do the hair and candle. After that, do the pelvis and leg, the other leg, the left arm, drum, right arm, and I think we're done with the Bokor himself, and then we will do the ghost, which is the body, the right arm, left arm, might switch those up, who really cares, and then the head, and we'll call it good. So, first up, the torso and the hair. Of our torso here, now add the hair on the back, and now this is them combined. Hooray. Now let's do our pelvis and left leg. Goes in nice and easy. Now let's do the right leg, which is not going to be set on the ground. It's going to be kind of kicking up. Yeah. Alright, now let's move on to our left arm, which is going to be the one holding the drum. It will be holding the drum. It doesn't yet. To distinguish it from the right arm, it's got the hair on it. This guy. Oh, it does take a little bit of smooshing to get up in there, but the thing I noticed is that there's actually a connection point to this bit on the knee. If you look at the bit, there is a spot on the hair that you will see where the knee is supposed to go. So if it's up in there and it's attached to the right spot on the knee, you got it good, because angles kind of matter here with that drum. So let's look at that. This is the drum. Whoops, hit my phone. You can see where the right hand will attach. So this is the part of the drum that is facing the right arm. And this is where the left hand is going to be holding it. The other thing of note, I believe it's specifically this one, one of these nubs is going to actually also attach to our model right there. Yeah. All right, put that on our Bokor. Cool. Actually, it wasn't that hard to get that in there, which is nice. Okay, now we just have the right arm. You saw where it connected on the drum, and also obviously on the shoulder. There we are. The tweezers really helpful in getting that shoulder into place. But we're done with the Bokor. Let's get started on the ghost. Grab the body first. Body here. Now let's do our left arm. Okay, so I got it in. It covered up the connection points correctly, and it matches the render. It's just a real awkward angle, so it kind of it sort of doesn't match the musculature. But it's a ghost, so whatever, I guess. I thought it actually connected to the side of the model, but it doesn't seem to. So that's how it should look. Let's add the right arm now. All right, that one less confusing. Pretty easy going. Now let's add the head. Oh, look at this cutie. All right, let's get him on a base. Gautraeux Bokor number 2 is done. We're going to call this one Thornapple. Yeah, the left arm and the drum and the right arm were the hardest parts on this, as well as just saying that the left arm is supposed to look like that. It's still a weird angle to me, but it's fine. Fits on the base okay. Just make sure the ghost is pushed up to the back, and then the gremlin is more towards the middle and front. It should be fine. No real other comments. Let's go ahead and wrap this up, get to our last one. Our third and final Gautraeux Bokor. This one is actually riding its ghost, so technically all one model this time around. However, we will assemble them separately and then combine them together at the very end. So we'll start with the ghost. We'll grab the base for it, which is this one, add the body, left arm, right arm, left arm, then the head, and that's the ghost. For the gremlin, we'll grab the torso, put this neck grass thing on. Then the head, we'll do the right arm. Then this is sort of like the part of the belt's flappy crotch thing. And then the left leg, and then we'll combine the two of them, alright? Okay, let's grab the base for the ghost first, and then the body. Okay, we've got our base here. Ghosty body is just gonna kind of go like that, roughly. And there it is. And looking from the other side. Alright, now let's do our left arm. Once you get the angle figured out, it goes on fine. Whoops. Just keep hitting things, don't I? Alright, let's look at it one more time. Alright, now the right arm. There's our right arm. For some reason, it's palm up. I don't know why. But this one is a little less solid in my opinion, so just be careful to not knock it out of place. Okay, let's do that. And he's got a head. Okay, now let's ignore him entirely and work on the gremlin now. And going back to the assumed order, grab the body, and then the neck piece, put the head on top of that, the right arm, the crotch flap, and then the left leg. Actually, no, we're not going to do the neck piece first, because I didn't realize that the right arm, that grassy stuff on it, is actually sort of part of the neck piece, so it goes underneath it, so we need to put that on first, kind of like that. Looks strange on the top of the model, so the seams you're checking here are right along the back, and then the armpit, as long as those look closed, should be good. Because again, as you can see, it's sort of an awkward fit. Now we do the neck piece. And this is the orientation we're looking at, going down on that. There we go. As you can kind of see, part of it does go underneath the arm, so make sure you hook that. Start putting, instead of trying to put it over the top. But yeah, that looks good. Head's just gonna go right in there now. He's really tucking his chin, or she, I'm not sure. But, yep, there we go. We're good. Now let's work on that crotch flap. Okay, we're looking at the correct orientation. This thing is going to go over the left thigh. You can also kind of see the belt right along here. It's slightly wiggly, but now we just need to jam the leg on there. Alright, there's the leg. Really check for the seams on the butt to make sure it's in the right position. If you put it in while the crotch flap is still curing, it's probably going to nudge it out of place. So you have two options. One, you can, if you're confident, you know that the crotch flap is in the correct position, you let that cure. Otherwise, you can just fiddle with it like I did. The easiest thing is just using your pokey stick to push up and make sure that the seam right here is closed off for the crotch flap, and then the seam along here is still fine for the left leg. But now he's done, and we can cover up this mess down here by sitting him on the ghost. So you can see the connection point on the back of the ghost right here. I guess the biggest thing is that this right here is sort of like a flame coming off the ghost, and this actually goes up across the crotch flap, and that's that sort of flame that shoots over the right thigh. The left thigh? No, the right thigh. Yeah, so I can get roughly the location. Yeah, like that. Here, I'll just add him. Okay, so this is kind of hard, and I'm thinking it actually might be easier if you put this piece on first and then build him up from there, as opposed to building the entire gremlin. But you can kind of see the seam, but there's the flame I was talking about that goes over the thigh, and then the flappy part, there's a groove down there that it's filled in. The one thing I think you need to keep in mind is that you can see the string in this, so he's kind of sitting off to the side, really. But yeah, no, my seams look pretty good, so I'm gonna call them good. That's just a suggestion from maybe making it easier. I'm not sure. If you try it that way, let me know, and if that helped or hindered the ability to put them together. But we're done. Gautraeux Bokor number 3 is done. We're gonna call this one Jimson. Yeah, hardest part was figuring out the neck ruffle thing and then parking his butt on the ghost. But you probably figured that out. Not an easy build, no, but not the worst thing I've done either. Just tiny bits that you have to deal with old gremlin models being really tiny bits. But nothing too egregious. So I'd say like maybe maybe an 8 out of 10. Just really just getting him to fit on the ghost without anything falling apart. Yeah, we'll go with that. Let's look at the whole box. The Gautraeux Bokors box is done. Got Bokors 1, 2, and 3. Not terribly easy models to assemble. Hardest one really being the third, I'd say, and maybe figuring out the arms on the ghost for the second one. But yeah, that and just small bits that come with gremlins. Not looking at the biggest of nightmares. It'll be okay. Basing them, I thought was going to be really difficult, just because, again, 30s for these things, but they actually went together pretty nice. So, I think that's all I got to say about them. I will sign off then. I have been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. Have a good night.